All right, guys, here are the solutions for numbers 38, 39, 40, 43, and 44. So let's begin. For number 38, there we go. I'm just going to move this down here. So for number 38, we have 1 and 5 over 9 divided by negative 2 over 3 plus negative 2 and 3 over 5. So when I see all these different kinds of fractions and mixed numbers, what I want to do first is make everything an improper fraction. Okay, so that way I'm looking at the same type of number across. So it's either going to be improper, and this guy here is going to stay proper. Okay, you can't make a proper improper. So 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5, we get 14 over 9, divided by negative 2 over 3, plus, and this becomes 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is negative 13 over 5. The hard part about questions like this is students start leaving the signs behind. So at the end, the numbers might be right, but you're forgetting the integers, and then you wonder what you're doing wrong. So when you take a look at this question a little closely, we have two signs, times, divide, and plus. So we're going to use PEMDAS, order of operations, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. So when I ask students if there's parentheses, they're like, yeah, they're right there. But I can't reduce a single rational number. So even though parentheses appear to be there, I don't have anything to reduce. I don't have exponents. I do have division. So I'm going to start here. Okay, so I'm going to take 14 over 9 divided by negative 2 over 3. And from here, I'm going to do the keep, change, reciprocal, keep, change, flip around. So I'm going to keep, I'm going to change. So the opposite of dividing by a number is to multiply its reciprocal. I'm going to multiply this by negative 3 over 2. So keep, change, flip. Okay, some of you don't like this upcoming step, and it's going to make the very end a lot easier. I'm going to take these two numbers, 3 and 9, and cross-reduce them. I'm going to divide both of them by 3. Negative 3 divide 3 is negative 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then the 14 and the 2 can be divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So what I have here is 7 over 3 times negative 1 over 1. So now I'm going to time straight across, and I get negative 7 over 3. Okay, so keeping an eye on the original problem, that's the solution to this part here. Now I'm going to take this portion and bring it down. So now I take negative 7 over 3, and I'm going to add to it negative 13 over 5. So what I'd like to do from here is find a common denominator. If you take 3 and take 5 and count by each of those numbers, you will find that your common denominator is 15. Okay, some of you don't need that step, so just skip it. I like to set up my fractions so I don't lose any of my signs. So 3 times 5 gives me 15, so 7 times 5 gives me 35. 5 times 3 gets me to 15, so 13 times 3 gets me to 39. Okay, I do have a lot of my numbers crunched in front of me, so if I'm doing some of this too fast, feel free to take a couple of extra steps. So 39 plus 35, I'm going to add these because the signs are the same. I'm in addition right now. So in addition, when my signs are the same, I add. So I'm going to take my denominator and keep it, and 35 plus 39 is negative 74. Okay, what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to convert this to a mixed number. So I'm going to take 15, 74 into 15. I get 4 times 15 is 60, with 14 left over. So my final solution is -4. My signs are different. My negative comes along. There's 14 left over out of 15. So this is my work and my solution for number 38. I should be able to see all of this work for 38. Okay, I will be deleting it now, so if you need any of it, please pause. Okay, so that was number 38. For number 39, so here's number 39. I'm not going to rewrite it. I'm just going to start by taking these mixed numbers and making them improper. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 is -15 over 4 times 5 over 6 minus 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 is 7 over 3. So once again, I have 2 operations. I have times and I have minus. So using order of operations, I'm going to do times first. So I'm going to start with these 2. I'm going to cross reduce in here. Both of these numbers can be divided by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. -15 divided by 3 is -5. Now I'm going to take these 2 and times them. I get -25 over 8. I'm going to keep it improper until the very end. I'm going to now subtract 7 over 3. Okay, and now if you take 8 and you take 3 and you count by 8, you will notice that 24 will be my common denominator. Okay, so 24. I'm going to rewrite this as plus negative something over 3. So let's use a different color. 8 times 3 gives me 24, so 25, -25 times 3 gives me 75. I made a mistake here. This should be 24. Sorry about that. So 3 times 8 is 24, so 7 times 8 is 56. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my denominator. In addition, I have 2 of the same signs. So I'm going to take 75 and add 56. Remember, in addition, you're going to add and keep the common sign. So that negative stays. I owe 75 and I also owe 56. So altogether, I owe 131. Okay, so if you don't trust this number, just come over to the side and add 75 and 56. So now I'm going to take this number and I'm going to convert it to a mixed number. Remember, this negative is going to come along, so I'm going to put that right here. Take 24 and see how many times we go into 131. I get 5 times. I find where I left my work. All right, so 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10, and 2 is 12. With the 11 left over. So my final answer is -5 with 11 left over out of 24. This is number 39. Okay, so there is your work. I'll be erasing this now, so if you need it, please pause. Okay, let's take a look at number 40. So I see exponents I see negatives, I see minus, and in here, you notice that 3/4 and 2 1/3 are together. This means times. So I'm going to expand this a little. I'm going to take 2 over 3 to the second power means times itself twice. So negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3 minus 3 over 4 times, I'm going to make this improper, 6, 7 over 3. So what I'm going to do first is take these two sets and times them. Okay, so negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9. Remember, we're multiplying, so we go straight across. It's not like adding. Minus, and now we're going to multiply these two. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 3. Oh, you know what I did actually? Let's do this again. Since I'm multiplying these, I can cross-reduce the 3's and make them 1's. So I get 7 over 4. 1 times 7 is 7. 4 times 1 is 4. Now I'm going to take this and rewrite it. 4 over 9, add the opposite. Okay, so I just made this plus, and I made this the opposite sign. Okay, so from here, I'm going to find a common denominator. So you can list your factors of 9 and 4. You will come up with 36. Okay. So 9 times 4 is 36. So 4 times 4 is 16. And 4 times 9 is 36. So 7 times 9 is 63. Okay, so here I'm going to keep my denominator. Now I'm in addition again, and I'm adding a positive and a negative. So in addition, back in chapter 1, when your signs are different, you're going to subtract. So you're going to take 63 and minus 16, and that gives you an answer of, I wish I can read my own work, 49 negative. So what you're going to do is now you're going to take 49 and divide it by 36 to make it mix. So 36 goes into 49 one time. Hang on one second. Okay, let's make a correction. So 63 minus 16 is 47 negative, not 49. So let's make this a 7. So it's negative 47. So let's come back to this division. And we're going to fix that. So we're going to take 47 divided by 36. 36 goes into 47 one time. When we subtract, we get 11. So negative divided by positive is negative. 36 goes into 47 one time. So we get negative 1 and 11 out of 36. Okay, 11 out of 36. All right, I'm going to turn to the next question. If you need so, please pause now to copy. Okay, so for number 43, a 14.5 gallon gasoline tank is 3/4 full. How many gallons will it take to fill the tank? So we need 1 more fourth to fill the tank. So if I take this and divide it by 4, it's going to tell me how many more gallons I need. So I'm going to take 14.5 and divide it by 4. So 4 goes into 14 3 times. That gives us 12. Subtract and bring down. 4 goes into 25 6 times. That gives us 24. Subtract and bring down. 4 goes into 10 2 times. Subtract and bring down. And 4 goes into 20 5 times. Subtract, and we're done. Decimal point goes straight up. So my final answer is 3 and 625 thousandths. If you care to do this as fractions, we would simply take 14 1/2 instead of 14.5 and divide it by 4. this would become improper as 29 over 2. I'm going to times it by the reciprocal, and I get 29 over 8. And if I divide this out, 8 goes into 29 3 times. That's 24 with 5 left over. So as a mixed number, we get 3 and 5/8. So 3 and 5 over 8. So my solution for number 43 is 3 and 5/8 gallons, or 3 and 625 thousandths of a gallon. Okay, I'll be deleting this, so if you need it, please pause now. Okay, for this last one, it's a 3-step process to find the spacing between the board, and the hardest part is enduring your way through the whole thing. So I'm going to write the steps out, and then we're actually going to follow through on it. So let me see here. The first thing we're going to do is find the total space, and what we're going to do is multiply. Okay. The second thing we're going to do is find the space that's left. And to do that, we're going to subtract. And then the third thing we're going to do is find the space between the 14 spaces. I know there's 15 boards, but if you draw 15 boards on your paper, it's only going to produce 14 spaces between them. And to do this, we're going to divide. So if you notice in parentheses, we're going to use 3 different operations for rational numbers. So I'm just going to shrink this down, move it off to the side, and we're going to follow each of those 3 steps. So step 1, find the total space. So I have 15 boards, and each board is 9 1/4 inches. So I'm going to take 15 over 1, so this will be step 1, and I'm going to times it by 9 1/4. So guess what we're going to do with this number? Make it improper. So 15 over 1 times 36 plus 1 is 37 over 4. So you're going to take 15 and 37, because they're the numerators, we're going to times them. Denominator is easy, it's 4. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7, and 3 is 10. Now we're done with the 7. We start with the 3. That means my first number goes right here. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. We add 5, 5, 5. So I get 555 over 4. I'm going to erase this. I don't want to ever see you guys erase. I'm going to convert this to a mixed number. So I'm going to take 555, divide by 4. Goes in 1 time, 1 left over, bring down. 4 goes into 15 3 times, 3 left over, bring down. 4 goes into 35, 9 times 4 is 36, so it's got to be 8 with 3 left over. So this is equivalent to 138 and 3 over 4. Okay, again, I'm going to erase this down just to clean up the screen for you. Please don't erase your work. So that was all of step 1. So I'm going to take step 1, I'm going to group it, and I'm just going to shove it over here and shrink it down a little bit. And over here, I'm going to write 138 and 3/4. So step 2 says to subtract. So I know I have a total width of 144 inches. I'm going to subtract 138 and 3/4 inches that the boards take up. So this is the amount of space the boards take up out of this total space. So I'm going to show you something cool. So if I want to write 144 as a mixed number, I can write it as 143 and 4/4. 4/4 is worth 1. So if I take 1 and add it to 143, it becomes 144. Now the reason why I want this is so I can subtract 4/4 minus 3/4. So what I essentially did is borrowed. I borrowed 1 and I made this 143. And the 1 that I borrowed, I turned it into a fraction, 4/4. Okay, any number over itself is equal to 1. So this is still worth 144. I just made it look different. Just like $10, for example, I could have 10 singles. So I could have singles 10 times, or I could have 2 $5 bills, or I could have a $10 bill 1 time. So there's a bunch of ways of making up $10. It just doesn't have to be a $10 bill. So 144, I broke it up into 143 dollars and then 4 out of 4. So that would be like quarters, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to take 4/4 minus 3/4 and get 1/4. And then I'm going to take 143 and minus 138. I get hopefully 5. Yep. So I get 5 1/4. So for step 2, find the space that's left. So the total space that's unused is 5 1/4 inches. Okay, once again, I'm going to shrink some work down here. Let's do this. I'm going to just delete a little bit of this stuff here. Let me shrink this down. This is step number 2. Okay, and for step number 3, it's going to tell us to divide the space that's left between the 14 spaces. So it's essentially taking 5 1/4, which is the space that's remaining, into 14 equal pieces. So I'm going to make it all improper. So 4 times 5 is 20. So this is 21/4 divided by 14/1. Now what I'm going to do here is keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Cross reduce. 21 and 14 share a factor of 7. That means I can divide both of these numbers by 7. 21 by 7 is 3. 14 divides 7 is 2. Now I can multiply straight across because I'm in the operation of times. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 2 is 8. So the space between each board is 3/8 inches. Okay, 3/8 of an inch between each board. Okay, and notice all of your work is in some kind of sequence. So step 1, step 2, and this is step 3. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the new year. Bye-bye.